My name is Blake Turner, and I approve of use of this footage for the Madeline Island Music Camps documentary. Well, for me, I believe it's a real sense of being a part of something greater than just myself. Being a part of a team. And for myself, I play in a string quartet, and so just getting to play with three other individuals that I love and respect is something that really allows me to get up in the morning and practice and want to rehearse with them all. Well, I feel like one of the reasons why I chose to play in a string quartet is there's just such a rich repertoire for the ensemble, and what's really cool about it is it's it's an intimate ensemble, but there's such a range of what you can do with just that ensemble. So the versatility of it is something that really drew me to playing in a string quartet, and but just also just the rich tradition of the composers. You have Haydn, Beethoven, Dvorak, all the way up to present day. Composers turn toward the string quartet to feature their music. Yes, yeah. I mean, you look at Haydn. He's really seen as kind of the father of the string quartet. He wrote nearly 100 string quartets, and it was definitely after him, many composers followed suit. They really saw that this was a medium that, as I said before, really had the versatility of being able to express everything that they wanted in a composition. Because you really have, it's in a sense, a very miniature version of an orchestra, but you still have like the individuality of a soloist, and so there's just a great range from the violins down to the cello that I think has really drawn composers to compose for the quartet.
My name is Andy Leong, and I am supportive of this Madeline Island documentary. Well, I was fortunate enough to go to Madeline Island for 2 summers in a row, and part of the great appeal for me is that it's in such a beautiful, secluded kind of setting. So it's kind of like a nice summer getaway to be able to spend something with people our age and study string quartets so intimately. And I think the fact that you're just surrounded by such beautiful nature, as well as kind of just away from the big city atmosphere, really helps into kind of doing the detailed work that you need to focus on string quartet playing. The faculty at Madeline Island is always just amazing. Both summers I was there, although the faculty wasn't always the same, the level of quartets that are coaching the students is always just so high. I mean, these are some of the best quartets in the world, and it's such a privilege to be able to work with them. I think the format and the way that the festival is set up, it's nice that throughout the 4 different weeks that the students are there, that there's a different quartet that you're able to coach with, and every quartet is able to bring something unique each week, and it's almost like having a different teacher each week, and you're able to focus on something different. I mean, what drew me about it was I've always had a passion for chamber music, and now that I'm playing, chamber music is kind of what I want to do in my music career. I wanted to definitely find something over the summer where I could really focus on string quartet playing, and Madeline Island was one of the few festivals over the summer that's really just dedicated to chamber music, and not just any chambers, but exclusively string quartets. And the fact that their faculty is mainly, fabulous quartets that are currently playing, and faculty members that have a lot of chamber music experience is just something very unique for a summer program, and was really the main reason that I applied. That's a really tough question to answer, because just over those 4 short weeks, my quartet was able to learn just so much. So it's very difficult to describe what we learned, but I think just the fact that when we attended Madeline Island, we were fairly new as a quartet, so it was just invaluable for us to get 4 different sets of mentors for each of the weeks that we were there. I think each quartet had such a unique way of teaching and coaching us that we were able to pull kind of the best aspects from each one of them, and then really hit the ground running when we started rehearsing, during the school year, and we've been able to apply that to our playing since.
All right. My name is Nicola Muti. I'm a member of the Cordova String Quartet, and I am okay with this footage being used in the Madeline Island documentary. The great string quartet composers, we can start off with the father of the string quartet, Joseph Haydn, or Joseph Haydn, I should say. Then it moves on to Mozart, Beethoven, and the Romantics, Schubert, Mendelssohn, all wrote wonderful works. We move on to the 20th century. Oh, I shouldn't forget Brahms, of course, with the Romantics, wrote some beautiful quartets. And 20th century Shostakovich, very prolific quartet composer. And hopefully the list will go on. The string quartet is a pretty special part. I think plays a special role in classical music because it brings together 4 individuals who, as individuals, each of them brings something special to the group. And then together they have to make a unified product. But at the same time, you don't want them to lose what they bring as individuals. So when you do come together with this product, there is a sense of, I don't know, it's something beyond, because it's something about the energy, which 4 people working in unison to come to a unified goal is very special and powerful, I think, to a certain extent. It has definitely, if only the world could work that way, where we could all come together and work as one towards a common goal, that would be great. It's the best description of the string quartet. And what's even greater about it is when you're playing the great works of Beethoven, Mozart, Haydn, Shostakovich, all the great composers of the past, it gets upped, that energy, because to a sense you are taking part in history. Many other wonderful musicians have played these phenomenal works and have bared their souls in performance and in study. And when you become a part of this, it's a very special moment for everyone involved, for the musicians, but hopefully also for the listener.
Very good. I'm Wally.
My name is Matt Kufchak, and I approve of the use of this footage for the Madeline Island Music Camp documentary.
Okay, first.
I think the string quartet is really unique because all the string instruments they're said to have voices that are similar to the human voice. So in particular the cello, which I play, is said to be the most similar to the human voice. But I think having the range of the high instruments to the lower instruments, the violins all the way down to the cello, really draws to mind like a chorale or a chorus, something that Bach might have written for. And it really gives us the full range of possibilities, both in dynamics but also in the range of the pitch. So it's really interesting to play in a string quartet because you have 4 individuals who have to do everything together. You have to play at exactly the same time. You have to try to agree on the musical interpretation of what you're playing. But we all come from different perspectives, and it can be tough to come to agreement on anything, where you're going to go eat lunch or how you're going to play a certain musical phrase. It's, you always have to get 4 people to agree. Some people say that playing a string quartet is like being married to 3 other people, and it can really be like that because the decisions we make for our career or even the way that we play a piece of music really affect all of us. And so you can't be very egotistical and demand that your idea be the only way that we can do it because somebody else might not agree. So it's always a delicate balance, but I think that it's also what makes playing string quartets so rewarding because somebody will bring something up that you'd never thought of. It's a completely different way of looking at the music or at a situation that you hadn't even considered. And in the end, I think it helps all the members of the quartet to grow, because it just gives you a new perspective on whatever it is that you're working on. Well, it really varies by composer, and something that you try to do is, delve into the music and see if you can start to understand their style. And if he writes something this way in a certain place, how can you compare it to when you see a similar marking in another place? But when you play music, a lot of it, no matter how detailed the composer is subjective and is subject to your own interpretation. Because we as musicians, we bring the music to life. It's on the page, and there are certain things that we try to follow, certain rules we try to follow, but we're the ones who, create the sound that the audience hears. And so it really depends on the composer, but I would say a good portion of what we rehearse is how we want to play a particular movement or a particular piece of music in a way that's going to be really compelling to the audience and that we feel strongly and convinced about.
I think.
Yeah, it really depends on the composer. Some more modern composers, especially Bartók comes to mind, they'll write, this piece of music should take 1 minute and 7 seconds or something like that. They would actually put an amount of time on it. Others mark simply a character marking, such as allegro or something that's much more subject to interpretation. And so it's up to us to really figure out what do we think the composer intended, but then also how can we play it in a way that's going to really connect to the audience. I mean, that's our goal in the end, is to create a work of art in a live performance so that they can see what this composer was trying to do with the music. For me, it was a really great opportunity to just kind of be away from busy everyday life. It's rather secluded. I mean, the fact that it's online, we couldn't just go anywhere. There's only whatever is available on the island. And so we spent a lot of time just focusing on rehearsing. Even when we weren't rehearsing, we were thinking about music or just spending time together as a quartet rather than going about our everyday lives. So it was a great chance to just have a break from the stuff that we normally do and just only focus on music.
How will you define?
Yeah, really honestly, we're trying to create any kind of audience that we can. And it sounds a little bit trite to say it that way, but we want to create a product that's appealing to anybody. We don't want to just appeal to people who study classical music and are very informed. We'd like to play music in such a way and make it accessible to any audience of people. I think one of our focuses is trying to figure out new ways that we can bring music to people who wouldn't normally see classical music performances, whether that be taking our quartet out into the community and just playing a concert at the grocery store or a movie theater or it could be anything. But we really feel strongly that the music we play is beautiful and it's something that anybody can enjoy. And we want to give as many people as possible the opportunity to listen to it.
Okay.
We learn something new every week, and I felt that what we learned kind of built on itself, because there were a lot of basic concepts that we were still trying to sort of get under our belts. And I wouldn't say there was any particular quartet that stood out as like we just learned everything from them and not from anyone else. I think they each touched on different things, and they each had different approaches for the way that they looked at quartet playing and the music that we were playing. And it was really great to work with so many. I mean, we had a different string quartet each week that we were able to work with, and to have so many different perspectives in a short amount of time was great, because we had a full week with each one. It wasn't like it was confusing to have, you know, a huge amount of input, but we did get a decent range of approaches, and that was really helpful to us.
I guess I got one more question. Classical music or not?
You know, for me personally, I've always enjoyed listening to music, and I think it's really hard to put into words how it affects people, because it is, you know, music is music. It's hard to say like how exactly does it affect someone, but you know, there have been so many times, whether it's playing in a string quartet or in an orchestra concert, where the different emotions that are evoked through the music are just so powerful to me as I'm playing, and I think also to the audience. And it's one of the things I love about performing is that the music really creates a connection between the performers and the audience. You know, whether it's something that's very sad or touching, or anything. But I think music can call to mind different memories for different people. It can just make you feel a way that you didn't know you had inside of you, and it's really powerful. And I think that's why all of us really enjoy playing classical music.
Very good.